higher nature and at the same time offer opportunity for other lives to come into manifestation, the institution of marriage was established. I bet you thought I'd never get there, didn't you? Marriage, folks, is therefore the Hermetic symbol of the ultimate reunion of the two halves of each individual's nature. When, after repeated appearances and associations, equilibrium between these masculine and feminine qualities is established. You see, the wedding ring was accordingly symbolic of the golden ring of the spirit fire, which connected the spiritual and material natures of every individual. And these beliefs and these marriages and this ring existed long before Christianity was ever the remotest thought in any human mind upon this earth. Ultimately, the present methods of reproduction will be abolished, they say, and both halves of the spirit fire will again be turned into the brain. One of them now finds its polarity in the pituitary body, and the other in the pineal gland. These two tiny ductless bodies, while an enigma to modern science, were recognized by the ancients as organs of great significance. The ancient wisdom teaches that the pineal gland was the original organ of vision, namely the third eye, called in the Sanskrit Dangama, or the eye of Shiva. It is the all-seeing eye of the Freemasons and the meaning of the word Buddha. And uniting its spark with the pituitary body, this gland fuses the broken circle and thus consummates the Hermetic marriage, whereby through an immaculate conception in the brain, the great light, the shining one, Lucifer, is born as a luminous spark in the third ventricle, which is the master mason's chamber in the ancient and accepted rite. Today, students of the ancient wisdom are seeking to prepare themselves for this peculiar work. The Hermetic marriage is, therefore, an individual matter, involving the attainment of individual completeness, requiring of the aspirant a sincere effort to be balanced, sane, and consistent in everything he does. In the alchemical retorts and vials, we recognize the bodies, glands, and organs of man, and in the chemicals, the essences and forces coursing through the body. With these, the individual consciousness must labor until it is capable of combining them according to the perfect formula. And now, Walt Disney. What child does not grow up in a fairyland extending from the first glimmer of understanding to the time when the grim realities of maturity tear down the dream world and replace it with hopelessness and despair? Hearts are broken all the way through this tragic pageantry of existence, the loss of innocence. But the first heartbreak is when the fairy stories and their wonderful little people are given up, and those beautiful beings with which we have peopled the world of our fancies give way to heartless human creatures in real existence. Man thoughtlessly destroys not only the dreams of others, but makes his own world a nightmare peopled with hobgoblins of selfishness and egotism. The fairies of childhood are always benevolent, kindly, helpful, serving the poor in distress, righting wrongs, and doing many beautiful things, while the realities of later life are generally malevolent and productive of all the miseries that the fairies of childhood sought to heal with silver-tipped wands and rainbow dreams. And there is a double meaning, as in the teachings of the mysteries and the fairy tales. There is an exoteric and an esoteric. Walt Disney, a 33rd degree Freemason of the Scottish Rite, a very famous Anglophile, a priest of the mystery religion of Babylon, has been teaching this esoteric meaning to your children throughout their life. In the great game of life, why can we not still preserve some of the beauty and romance of fairyland? This is what you see. The world of pixies, gnomes, and fairy godmothers in a Walt Disney movie is just as real in childhood as the grinding commercial system is during later life. You see, economics would suffer no injury, nor would standards collapse if dreams were perpetuated and man instructed how to build solid foundations under his castles of air, for human beings are ever children at heart. For you, too, the parents, watch these movies and enjoy them. Man grows old, but he never grows up. Like Peter Pan, he is childlike from the cradle to the grave. Life for the average person has an insufficiency of beauty or sweetness with which to combat the sordid grind of modern things, and therefore these esoteric teachings can be presented to a receptive mind. And here and there, one lives a whole life in a fairyland of poetry, art, or music. It may be called a dreamer, but in the case of Disney, it is a message, an inculcation, a brainwashing, if you will. For will any child ever forget Cinderella and her wonderful glass slipper, how she met and won the beautiful prince while her envious sisters and cruel stepmother gnashed their teeth in rage? The story is part of childhood. But with the coming of years, poor little Cinderella is forgotten. The rag dolls are thrown in the corner. The toy blocks are covered with dust, for the dream world of childhood has faded from the mind, and little pattering feet, once running hither and thither, have given place to slow, uncertain steps. Yet the romance finds another setting. Prince Charming becomes a soda fountain clerk or a floor walker in a downtown store, while Princess Beautiful sells ribbons in some little country shop. The lives of people are really fairy stories, in which they play out the comedies and tragedies of their lives, seeking for something today to take the place of the shattered dreams of yesterday. And so they relish and absorb these movies, for they have a counterpart in nature. The world about us is filled with ugly stepmothers and half-sisters who cannot wear glass slippers. Do you remember Beauty and the Beast? How in spite of the sorcery that had turned the handsome prince into a hideous monster, the coming of beauty into his life restored him again to human form and happiness. Through the lack of beauty in his own heart, many an individual has become a horrible, hideous beast who, while still in human shape, has all the attributes of a ferocious animal. How often the sense of beauty is the thing that redeems. Beauty of soul and beauty of life bring back happiness to the beast. The whole world is a romance of Beauty and the Beast. We see it on the battlefield of Flanders, where flowers are springing up in the shadows of the trenches. In nature, we ever see beauty redeeming the beast. Out in the forest, the dark dead tree is gaunt and bare, but nature, with her magic wand, covers the tree with creeping vines, decking its gaunt limbs with mantles of flower. Have you read the story of Sleeping Beauty? If not, go straight to the library and visit the children's room. Sit down in one of those little chairs about 10 inches from the floor. Get out the book with its colored pictures and much thumb pages and go with the prince through the great forest of nettles and thorns which surrounds the palace of Princess Beautiful. The princess is under a spell which causes her to sleep until she is awakened by the handsome prince, who passes through all the obstacles in life in order to claim her as his own. The soul, the mating, the bringing together of the masculine and the feminine, after passing through the degrees, the trials, the tribulations of initiation in the mysteries. And I could go on and on and on and on and on, ladies and gentlemen, but unfortunately we're out of time. Good night. God bless you all, and think of the magical lamp of Aladdin, the lamp of illumination.